The galaxy's most feared species found their match, humans. Entire fleets disappeared without a trace. Their ships were enormous, armed with weapons that could destroy moons. Their warriors were strong, fast, and ruthless. The name Zaltrax alone could make leaders tremble. Yet far in a quiet part of space, humans watched the stars with curiosity, not fear. On the bridge of the starship Aurora, Captain Daniel Hayes leaned over the main console, his eyes fixed on the readouts. The ship was small compared to the massive Zaltrax fleet that had just entered the Orion cluster. Even so, the Aurora was human-made, fast, and smart. It could outmaneuver almost any craft in its class. "Captain," said Lieutenant Alex Moore, pointing at the screen, "they're forming a blockade around the outer planets. They'll reach Earth in a few weeks if we don't do something." Daniel didn't flinch. "Let them come," he said. His voice was calm, almost quiet. "We've faced worse on Earth. This is just another problem to solve." Alex raised his eyebrows. "Worse, Daniel, they destroy whole fleets for fun." Daniel smiled. "I know, and we'll make sure they never get the chance." Across the room, engineer Sophie Daniels adjusted a console, her fingers moving quickly. "The sensors are picking up massive energy readings from their main ship. It's huge, over 1 kilometer long, and it's powered by something we've never seen before." Daniel nodded. "Good. That means we know where they are. We'll plan our moves carefully." Humans had always faced challenges that required thinking differently. On Earth, they had survived disasters, wars, and environmental collapses. They had built their minds to adapt, to improvise, and to face danger head-on. The Zaltrax were about to learn what humans could do when pushed to the edge. Meanwhile, in the vastness of space, the Zaltrax fleet moved with terrifying precision. Their ships were black and silver, like living shadows cutting through the stars. Commander Varlock, the leader of the fleet, stood on the bridge of the largest ship, the Dreadspire. His eyes glowed faintly under the dim lights, scanning the tactical displays. "Prepare for the human planet," he said in a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. "We will show them the power of the Zaltrax. No species has resisted us before. None will resist us now." His officers nodded, their expressions cold and determined. The Zaltrax did not understand hesitation or fear. They did not understand mercy or patience. Their way was destruction. Their way was conquest. Back on the Aurora, Captain Daniel gathered his senior officers in the strategy room. Maps of star systems and fleet positions glowed on the central display. Claire Bennett, Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, sat at the table, her hands folded neatly. Unlike the military officers, she wore no uniform, only a simple suit, but her presence carried authority. "We've known about the Zaltrax for decades," Daniel began. "Stories say they destroy anything that moves. But we have something they don't expect, human intelligence and creativity." Claire nodded. "Diplomacy will help, but we cannot rely on it entirely. We need to be ready for war if necessary." Liam Porter, the chief strategist, leaned forward. "Captain, I've studied their fleet patterns. They rely on overwhelming force. Their ships are big but not very flexible. If we can use small, fast ships, we can strike at weak points before they can react." Daniel tapped the map. "Exactly. We don't fight like they do. We fight smart. We use unpredictability. We use our brains as much as our weapons." Alex Moore smirked. "Sounds like a plan humans would make. I like it." Sophie added, "I can enhance our shields to adapt to their energy weapons. If we can keep our small ships alive long enough, we can learn their patterns and exploit them." Daniel smiled. "Good. That's the kind of thinking that will keep us alive. Humans survive because we don't just follow rules, we change the rules." Far from them, the Zaltrax commander Varlock monitored human communications. He noticed their messages were calm, almost casual. Humans did not tremble. Humans did not beg. This confused him. In all history, no species had faced the Zaltrax without fear. No species had acted as if they were equal. "They are arrogant," Varlock said to his officers. "They do not fear us. That is a weakness we will exploit." But he did not realize that this calmness was not arrogance. It was confidence built on experience. Humans had survived disasters, plagues, and wars on their home planet. They had survived themselves. Fear was a luxury they rarely allowed. As days passed, the Zaltrax fleet moved closer to the outer colonies of the Orion cluster. Human scouts observed them, reporting every movement. The Aurora patrolled quietly, staying hidden while collecting information. Captain Daniel reviewed the reports daily. noting the Zaltrax formations, the size of their ships, and the energy signatures of their weapons. One evening, Daniel stood alone on the observation deck looking at the stars. Claire joined him quietly. "You don't seem worried," she said. Daniel shook his head. "Worrying doesn't solve anything. We prepare, we plan, we adapt. Worrying only wastes energy." Claire smiled faintly. "Humans are strange. Most species would have fled by now." Daniel's eyes didn't leave the stars. "We don't flee, we meet challenges. We survive, that's what makes us human." Suddenly, alarms blared on the Aurora. Sophie's voice came over the intercom, tense but controlled. "Captain, multiple Zaltrax fighters detected approaching at high speed. They've broken formation." Daniel straightened. "Red alert, all hands to battle stations. Let's see what they're trying." In minutes, small, black, sleek Zaltrax fighters appeared on the Aurora's sensors. Their shapes were sharp, angular, built for speed and attack. Daniel watched calmly as the tactical displays showed their approach vectors. Alex Moore leaned over the console, checking weapon systems. "They're fast, but we know their weaknesses. Shields are not fully charged yet, but we can lure them in." Daniel nodded. "Do it. We'll make them regret underestimating humans." The first Zaltrax fighter opened fire, energy beams cutting through space. Aurora's adaptive shields flared to life, absorbing most of the blasts. The small human ship maneuvered with astonishing agility, dodging attacks that would have destroyed larger ships. "Target the lead fighter," Daniel ordered. "We'll disable it and send a message." Liam Porter at the tactical station calculated firing solutions. "On it, Captain, adjusting trajectory now." The Aurora's pulse cannons fired, hitting the lead fighter. It shuddered, then spun out of control. The other fighters hesitated. They had not expected humans to strike back so quickly and so effectively. Sophie Daniels monitored the shields, her hands flying over the controls. Shields holding at 80%. "We can take another wave if necessary." Daniel watched the sensors carefully. "They'll test us more, stay sharp. Humans are not just fighters, we're survivors. We improvise, we learn fast. They won't understand us until it's too late." Hours passed and the Zaltrax fighters retreated. The Aurora had survived its first encounter without a scratch. The crew cheered quietly, but Daniel remained focused. "This is only the beginning," he said. "They will come back, bigger, faster, stronger, but so will we. We are humans, and we always find a way." Claire stepped beside him. "You think we can really face the Zaltrax?" Daniel turned to her, eyes steady and confident. "We don't just face them, we show them that humans are not afraid, that we are different, that we cannot be broken." Outside, the stars were calm, silent witnesses to the first sparks of a war that would change the galaxy forever. The humans aboard the Aurora knew they were small, but they carried something the Zaltrax had never faced before: courage, intelligence, and a refusal to bow to fear. Somewhere in the distance, the Zaltrax fleet regrouped, unaware that their most dangerous enemy was not their weapons or their numbers. It was humanity itself. And that realization would take time, time they did not yet have. The first part of the story closed with the Aurora heading back to Earth, not as a ship fleeing danger, but as a symbol of human ingenuity and bravery. The galaxy had feared the Zaltrax for centuries, but it had never met humans. That meeting was about to begin, and no one could predict the results. The humans knew one thing for certain: they would not be the species to kneel. They would fight, they would survive, and they would show the galaxy what it meant to be human. After the first encounter, the humans knew the Zaltrax were not a threat to take lightly. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the Aurora, looking at the star maps. Every dot represented a ship, every line a possible path the enemy might take. The galaxy had never seen a species fight like humans did, but now the challenge was real. Lieutenant Alex Moore approached the captain, a serious look on his face. "They won't back down, Captain." "They'll come in greater numbers. We need a plan before they reach the colonies." Daniel nodded. "We don't just need a plan, we need a strategy they cannot predict, something they've never seen before." Across the room, engineer Sophie Daniels adjusted the ship's systems. "I've been working on adaptive shields and weapon systems. If we can upgrade them, we can survive their next attack and even strike first." "That's good," Daniel said. "Humans survive because we adapt. We don't just react, we anticipate." In the strategy room, Chief Strategist Liam Porter studied the movements of the Zaltrax fleet. He pointed at the star map. "Their ships are massive and powerful, but they move slowly in formation." If we split our forces into smaller, fast-moving units, we can hit their weak points and retreat before they respond. Claire Bennett, Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, listened carefully. We must also consider diplomacy. Not all systems want war. If the Zaltrax attack colonies under other species' protection, it could trigger full-scale galactic conflict. Daniel shook his head. We don't negotiate when our people are at risk. Humans protect their own. That is how we survive. As the Aurora moved closer to Earth, humans began preparing for what was coming. Planetary defenses were activated. Starbases were reinforced. Scientists worked day and night to improve weapons and shields. Engineers designed new tactics for small fighter units that could dodge the enormous Zaltrax ships. On Earth, children looked up at the stars unaware of the danger approaching. Adults worked tirelessly, building and planning. The entire planet seemed to pulse with quiet determination. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and somehow they always found a way. Meanwhile, the Zaltrax fleet gathered near the outer planets. Commander Varlock was not pleased. Their first attack had failed. His pride demanded victory, but he could not understand the humans' calmness. They are defiant, Varlock said to his officers. No species has ever stood against us like this. Prepare all forces. We will crush them or die trying. The Zaltrax began sending probes toward human colonies, gathering intelligence. Each probe was destroyed by human defenses, sometimes with surprising efficiency. Humans had built systems that could detect even the smallest threat, and they reacted quickly. Captain Daniel called a meeting with his senior officers. We've seen the Zaltrax first approach. They tested us and found nothing. That is both good and dangerous. Good because we survived, dangerous because they will try harder next time. Alex nodded. They will attack faster, stronger, and smarter, but we've already learned something about them. We can use that knowledge, Sophie smiled. I've been improving the shield algorithms. If we can predict their attack patterns, even a little, we can save lives and maybe take out some of their ships. Liam leaned over the table, pointing at a cluster of dots on the map. Their formations are large but rigid. If we attack from unexpected directions, they will have difficulty responding. Humans can move quickly and unpredictably. That will be our advantage. Claire spoke quietly. Do you really think humans can defeat them? They are legendary. Daniel looked at her steadily. We don't need to defeat them outright. We just need to survive and show them humans cannot be easily broken. That is how we win. Over the next week, human engineers and scientists worked without rest. The Aurora was upgraded with faster engines, stronger shields, and advanced weapon systems. Smaller fighter ships were modified to be extremely agile. Human pilots trained rigorously, running simulations against the massive Zaltrax fleet. Alex Moore trained the pilots personally. Remember, he told them, we are small, they are huge. They expect us to be afraid. We don't show fear. We use our speed, our brains, and our courage. Hit fast, retreat faster. Learn from every move. Sophie Daniels monitored the new systems. If we synchronize shields with weapons, our ships can survive hits and return fire almost instantly. The Zaltrax won't expect that. Daniel watched them work, feeling a sense of pride. Humans were small in the galaxy, but they had courage. They had intelligence. They had creativity, and that was more dangerous than any weapon. Meanwhile, in space, the Zaltrax were planning their next move. Commander Varlock was growing frustrated. Humans are unpredictable. They survive our attacks when they should be destroyed. We need new tactics, stronger ships, and more soldiers. Nothing less will work. But even as he spoke, the humans had already begun preparing for the battle. Captain Daniel gathered his officers again. The next encounter will be bigger. They will throw everything at us. But we are ready. Humans survive because we never give up, because we never stop learning. That is how we will face them. Liam Porter studied the star maps. I have a plan for the next encounter. We divide our forces into smaller units. Some will attack directly, some will flank, and some will act as decoys. They won't know which is which. Claire Bennett frowned. That is dangerous. If any unit fails, lives will be lost. Daniel looked at her calmly. Every mission is dangerous. That is how humans survive. We do what others cannot. We take risks, but we plan for them, and we never stop trying. Alex Moore added, I've trained the pilots to think on their own. We don't just follow orders. We adapt in real time. That will confuse the Zaltrax and give us an edge. Sophie Daniels smiled. And if our shields hold, even small units can survive long enough to hit their targets. We've turned their strength into a weakness. The humans worked tirelessly day and night. Every system was checked, every weapon calibrated, every pilot trained. The Aurora became a hub of planning and preparation, a symbol of human determination. Outside the ship, the stars were quiet, but the humans knew danger was coming. The Zaltrax were approaching with a massive fleet, larger than anything the galaxy had seen before. But humans did not panic, they did not hide, they prepared. Captain Daniel gathered his crew one last time before the encounter. "We are small, but we are human. That means we never give up. We fight for each other, for our homes, for our people. That is what makes us strong. That is what will keep us alive." Alex Moore nodded. "We are ready, Captain. Let them come." Sophie Daniels added, "And we'll show them humans are not like any other species. They will see our courage, our skill, and our determination." Claire Bennett looked at them and smiled faintly. "I hope the galaxy is ready to see what humans can do." The Aurora moved toward the edge of the system, ready to face the Zaltrax fleet. Every crew member knew the stakes. Every mind was focused on survival and strategy. Humans had never faced such a threat before, but they were not afraid. For weeks, the Zaltrax had studied humans, expecting fear. They expected surrender. They expected weakness. But what they found was determination, intelligence, and courage. Humans did not fight like other species. Humans survived when others would fall. The first signs of battle appeared on the sensors. Zaltrax probes moved into human-controlled space, scanning for weaknesses. Human fighters took positions, ready to strike. Captain Daniel watched calmly. "This is it," he said quietly. "We show them what humans are made of, not just our weapons, not just our ships, but our minds, our courage, and our will to survive." Alex Moore grinned. "Finally, some action. Let's make it count." Sophie Daniels activated the new shields and weapon systems. "All systems ready. We're prepared for anything." Liam Porter studied the enemy formation. "They're coming faster than we predicted, but our plan is ready. If we execute it perfectly, we can take the first step towards showing the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated." Claire Bennett stood silently, watching the stars. "May the humans' courage guide them." Captain Daniel nodded. "It will. Humans never give up. We never surrender, and we always find a way. That is how we survive. That is how we will face the Zaltrax." The first wave of the Zaltrax fleet entered the system. Their ships were enormous, dark, and silent, like shadows moving across the stars. But the humans did not flinch. They were ready, they had planned, trained, and prepared. They had faced impossible odds before, and they would do it again. The battle was about to begin, and humans would show the galaxy that courage, intelligence, and determination could match even the most feared species in the universe. The Zaltrax were powerful, but humans were different. They were unpredictable. They were dangerous. And they were ready. The Zaltrax fleet moved closer to the human defenses. Their massive ships blocked out stars as they drifted silently through space. Commander Varlock, aboard the Dreadspire, looked at the screens in front of him. "The humans are ready. That is strange. No species has ever prepared so carefully, but preparation does not stop destruction." His officers watched as the human ships moved into position. Unlike other species, the humans did not form a large, rigid line. They spread out, fast and small ships weaving between each other, unpredictable and difficult to target. Varlock frowned. "They move like small predators, unpredictable. We will adapt. We will crush them." On the bridge of the Aurora, Captain Daniel Hayes watched the enemy fleet. His crew was tense but focused. "Remember," he said quietly, "we are small, but we are human. We survive because we think, because we adapt, because we never stop. This is our advantage." Alex Moore sat at the tactical console, eyes scanning the incoming ships. "They are moving fast, but their weapons have a long delay. We can exploit that." Daniel nodded. "Good. Sophie, ready the adaptive shields. Liam, get the fighter squadrons in position. This is our moment." Sophie Daniels worked quickly at the controls. "Shields are online and synchronized with weapons. If they fire, our shields will absorb most of the impact, and our guns will be ready to strike back instantly." Liam Porter coordinated the fighter units. "Small teams on the flanks, decoys in the center, main attack from multiple directions. They won't know what hit them." Claire Bennett stood behind them, watching quietly. "It is terrifying, but I trust you all. Humans are brave in ways no other species is." The first Zaltrax ships opened fire. Beams of energy streaked through space, cutting past stars and debris. The Aurora shook, but the adaptive shields absorbed most of the damage. The small human fighter ships darted around the larger enemy ships, avoiding attacks and returning fire with pulse cannons. "Direct hit on the lead fighter," Alex shouted. "It's going down." The Zaltrax ship shuddered and exploded in a burst of fire. The remaining fighters hesitated, confused by the humans' unpredictable moves. "Keep pushing," Daniel ordered. "Hit and retreat, make them chase shadows." The human fighters moved like shadows themselves, weaving between beams and striking quickly. Each squadron had a mission, but all moved with one mind. The Zaltrax could not predict their movements, and that frustration showed on the enemy sensors. "Captain," Sophie said, "shields are holding, but the larger ships are beginning to concentrate fire." "We need to keep moving," Daniel nodded. "We will. Humans survive because we do not stay still. Move, strike, adapt, survive, that is our way." The Aurora fired pulse cannons, hitting the engines of a massive Zaltrax cruiser. It slowed, giving the human fighters an opening to strike. The Zaltrax were used to overwhelming force, but they had never faced speed and intelligence combined. Liam Porter watched the tactical screens. "The flank units are hitting hard. Lead units are drawing fire. Our decoys are confusing them. We can break through if we stay coordinated." Alex Moore piloted his fighter close to the Zaltrax ship. "This is it. We hit hard, we retreat fast, we survive." He fired the cannons. The enemy ship shuddered as explosions ripped through its hull. Another squadron joined, and the ship was forced to retreat. The first victory for humans in this battle gave hope to everyone aboard the Aurora, but Commander Varlock was not done. "Enough of this. Activate the full fleet. Crush them. Show them the power of the Zaltrax." The massive Zaltrax ships began moving in formation, energy beams charging and ready to fire. The humans did not panic. They split into smaller units, moving fast between the larger ships, dodging attacks and striking weak points. Daniel looked at the tactical screens. "Remember, we are human. We survive because we think, because we adapt, because we never stop. Attack together, move together, and never give up." Sophie Daniels adjusted the shields. "Incoming fire, but we can handle it. Shields are holding." Alex Moore led a squadron toward the largest Zaltrax ship. They fired pulse cannons, striking weak points in the hull. The ship shuddered, but it did not fall. The humans retreated quickly, drawing the enemy fire away from other units. Meanwhile, Liam Porter coordinated the other units. "Attack their supply ships, hit their engines, make them chase us, confuse them." The humans' strategy worked. The Zaltrax ships, massive and powerful, could not handle the speed and unpredictability of the human fighters. Each attack caused frustration and confusion among the enemy commanders. On the Aurora, Daniel watched with pride. "Humans survive because we do not just follow rules. We create new rules, we adapt, we fight smart. That is why we are alive." The battle continued for hours. The Zaltrax used everything they had, but the humans stayed ahead. Their small ships darted between energy beams, their adaptive shields absorbing damage, and their pulse cannons striking weak points. Claire Bennett watched quietly. "They are incredible. Humans never give up. They never stop thinking. That is why they survive." Sophie Daniels adjusted the controls, keeping the shields strong and the weapons ready. "We can take more hits. We can strike again. They don't know what we will do next." Alex Moore shouted from the tactical console. "Another Zaltrax ship is down. Keep pushing." The humans' tactics began to turn the tide. The Zaltrax had never faced an enemy like this. Their usual overwhelming force was not enough. The humans were too fast, too smart, and too brave. Commander Varlock watched the battlefield with anger. "Impossible. They are too quick, too clever. Adapt the ships, increase firepower, crush them." But even as he gave orders, the humans adapted faster. Small units struck weak points, then retreated. Larger ships were forced to protect themselves. The Zaltrax fleet began to falter, unsure of what to do next. On the Aurora, Daniel spoke calmly to his officers. "This is why humans survive. We are small, but we are smart. We are not afraid. We fight differently. We fight to live. That is our strength." The battle raged through space, lights flashing and beams cutting through the darkness. Human fighters moved like shadows, hitting, retreating, and hitting again. The Zaltrax ships, massive and powerful, struggled to adapt. Hours passed. The humans had no losses among their small squadrons, thanks to their speed and shields. The Zaltrax lost several fighters and one cruiser. The Aurora had minor damage, but the crew remained calm. Daniel looked at the battlefield. We have shown them humans are not weak. We survive because we think, we adapt, we never stop. That is why they fear us even if they do not know it yet. Alex Moore grinned. They thought they could crush us, but we fight smart, we fight together, and we survive. Sophie Daniels monitored the systems. Shields and weapons are still strong. We can continue the attack if necessary. Liam Porter pointed at the tactical screen. Their formations are breaking. They do not know how to respond. If we push now, we can force them to retreat. Daniel nodded. Then we push. Remember, humans survive because we do not just follow rules. We create them. We adapt. We fight smart. We fight to live. The Aurora led the final strike. Small fighter units hit the weak points of the largest Zaltrax ships. Explosions lit up space. The Zaltrax began to retreat, unable to handle the humans' speed, intelligence, and unpredictability. Commander Varlock could not believe it. How is this possible? No species has survived us like this. Humans, they are different. They are dangerous. On the Aurora, the crew cheered quietly but kept working. The battle was not over. They had survived, but they knew more challenges would come. Humans survived because they were clever, because they adapted, because they never gave up. That was why they had turned the tide against the most feared species in the galaxy. Captain Daniel Hayes looked at the stars. We are human, we survive, we fight smart, we adapt. That is our strength. The Zaltrax will learn that soon enough. Claire Bennett smiled faintly. They underestimated humans, and now they see what we are capable of. Alex Moore grinned. Let them come, we are ready. Humans always find a way. Sophie Daniels checked the systems again. All systems are ready for another encounter. We can survive anything they throw at us. Liam Porter nodded. We've shown them humans are not weak, and they will remember it. The battle ended with the humans victorious, at least for now. The Zaltrax fleet retreated, but the humans knew it was only a matter of time before they returned. Yet for the first time in history, the most feared species in the galaxy had met an enemy they could not easily destroy. Humans were small, but they were dangerous. Humans were clever, adaptable, and brave. And humans had shown the galaxy that courage, intelligence, and determination could match even the strongest force in the universe. The Aurora returned to orbit around the outer colonies, ready to regroup and prepare for the next encounter. Captain Daniel Hayes looked at his crew with pride. We are human, we survive, we fight smart, we adapt, and we will continue to survive. That is who we are. The stars were calm, but the humans knew the Zaltrax would return. They were ready. Humans always were. The victory against the first wave of the Zaltrax had been a moment of pride, but Captain Daniel Hayes knew it was only the beginning. The Aurora returned to the outer colonies to resupply and repair, while the humans prepared for the next attack. Reports came in from scouts. The Zaltrax were regrouping, gathering a fleet larger than anything the galaxy had seen. Commander Varlock would not be patient for long. Daniel gathered his senior officers in the strategy room. They're coming back, he said calmly. Stronger, faster, with more ships. But we have something they do not, our minds, our speed, and our ability to adapt. We survive because we never stop learning. Alex Moore leaned over the tactical display. They'll hit the colonies first. That's their style: fear, destruction. They want us to panic, but we won't. We prepare, we protect, and we strike back. Sophie Daniels added, I've upgraded the shields even more. The smaller ships now have rapid response modules. We can hit, retreat, and strike again in seconds. The Zaltrax won't know what's coming next. Liam Porter pointed to a map. We divide the fleet into 3 groups. One defends the colonies, one attacks the approaching Zaltrax, and one remains hidden for surprise maneuvers. We force them to fight on multiple fronts. Their size will be a weakness, not strength. Claire Bennett spoke quietly. And if the Zaltrax bypass the colonies, their fleet is huge. Can we really stop them? Daniel looked at her steadily. We can stop them because we are human. We are small, yes, but we are clever, adaptable, and brave. We fight differently. That is why we survive. That is why they fear us, even if they do not know it yet. The humans worked tirelessly. Engineers built new weapons, modified fighter ships for speed, and reinforced planetary shields. Pilots trained day and night, running simulations against Zaltrax tactics. Scientists calculated attack trajectories and weaknesses in the massive enemy fleet. Every person worked with purpose, knowing their survival depended on preparation and courage. As the Zaltrax fleet approached, Commander Varlock spoke with his officers. The humans survived our first attack. This is unacceptable. They are small but clever, prepare all ships. We hit everything they protect, crush them. The humans detected the approaching fleet early. Daniel reviewed the tactical maps. They're massive but predictable in their numbers. We use their size against them. Speed and precision will be our weapons. Humans survive because we adapt faster than any enemy can. The first wave of Zaltrax ships attacked the outer colonies. Energy beams lit up space as the massive ships fired on planetary defenses, but the humans were ready. Adaptive shields absorbed most of the damage, while fighter units darted between attacks, striking weak points on the enemy ships. Alex Moore led a squadron into the battle. Hit and retreat, make them chase shadows, use speed, use brains, use courage. The Zaltrax ships fired relentlessly, but the humans moved too quickly. Each attack by the enemy was met with a counterstrike. Human pulse cannons tore into engines and weapon systems, causing confusion among the massive fleet. Sophie Daniels monitored the shields and weapons from the Aurora. Shields are holding and weapons are ready. We can keep this up as long as we coordinate. Liam Porter coordinated the units, giving precise orders. Flank their largest ships, hit the supply vessels. Draw their attention, confuse them. The human strategy worked. Smaller, faster units drew the enemy into traps while the main forces struck weak points. Explosions lit up space as Zaltrax ships were damaged or destroyed. Commander Varlock watched in disbelief. They adapt too quickly, he growled. They survive attacks we know would destroy any other species. Humans, they are dangerous. The humans were not only surviving, they were winning small victories. Captain Daniel Hayes kept the morale high. We fight smart, we fight together, and we survive. Humans always find a way. Remember that? The Zaltrax fleet was massive, but its size became a weakness. Their ships could not turn quickly, their weapons had long delays, and their coordination was disrupted by human tactics. The smaller human ships moved unpredictably, striking weak points, retreating and attacking again. Alex Moore led another squadron directly at the largest Zaltrax ship. This is our chance. Hit the engines, then retreat. The squadron fired, and the massive ship shuddered as explosions ripped through its hull. The Zaltrax retaliated, but the human fighters had already moved to safety. Their tactics were precise, deadly, and unexpected. Sophie Daniels adjusted the systems. We can continue this all day. Shields are strong, weapons ready. They won't see our next move coming. Liam Porter nodded. The enemy is confused. Their formation is breaking. Now is the time to strike harder. Captain Daniels smiled. Humans survive because we adapt. We learn faster than any enemy can. We strike where they are weak and we retreat before they can react. That is our strength. The battle raged for hours. Human fighters moved like shadows between massive Zaltrax ships, striking weak points and retreating before the enemy could respond. Every attack was coordinated, every move planned but adaptable in real time. The outer colonies were protected. The Zaltrax could not reach them without taking heavy losses. Their massive fleet, designed to crush any enemy, was slowed and confused by the humans' small, fast, and intelligent units. Commander Varlock could not believe it. Impossible. How can a species so small fight like this? They survive everything we throw at them. They are dangerous. On the Aurora, Daniel addressed his crew. Remember, we are human. We survive because we think, because we adapt, because we never stop. This is how we fight, and this is how we win, Alex Moore grinned. They thought they could crush us, but we fight smart. We fight together, and we survive. Sophie Daniels monitored the shields. All systems are strong. We can take another round. Liam Porter pointed at the tactical screen. Their formation is broken. They are moving slower, and their attacks are less coordinated. Push forward. We can force them to retreat. Daniel nodded. Then we push. Remember, humans survive because we create new ways to fight. We adapt, we strike where they are weak, we never give up. The humans launched a coordinated strike. Fighter squadrons hit the weak points of the largest Zaltrax ships, causing explosions and forcing them to retreat. Smaller units continued to harass the enemy, preventing them from regrouping. Commander Varlock could not understand it. No species has ever resisted us like this. Humans, they are unpredictable, clever, and fearless. We cannot defeat them as we have defeated others. On the Aurora, the crew celebrated quietly but stayed focused. The battle was not over, but the humans had proven they could survive against the most feared species in the galaxy. Daniel looked at the stars. We are human. We survive. We fight smart. We adapt. That is our strength. They will learn that soon enough. Claire Bennett smiled. They underestimated humans, and now they see what we can do. Alex Moore grinned. Let them come. We are ready. Humans always find a way. Sophie Daniels checked the systems. All systems are ready for another engagement. We can face anything they throw at us. Liam Porter nodded. We've shown them humans are not weak, and they will remember it. As the Zaltrax retreated, the humans regrouped. The Aurora and its crew returned to the colonies to repair and plan for the next attack. They knew the enemy would not give up. The Zaltrax would come back, stronger and smarter, but the humans were ready. They had survived the impossible, adapted to the challenge, and fought with courage and intelligence. They had shown the galaxy that even the most feared species could meet a species that refused to bow. Captain Daniel Hayes looked at his crew. We are human. We survive. We fight smart. We adapt. And we will continue to survive. That is who we are. The stars were calm, but the humans knew the Zaltrax would return. They were ready. Humans always were. And in the quiet moments, as the Aurora orbited the outer colonies, the humans reflected on what they had done. They had faced the galaxy's most feared species and survived. They had shown that courage, intelligence, and determination could rival even the strongest forces in the universe. The battle was not over, but humanity had proven one truth. Humans could not be broken, could not be easily defeated, and would always fight to survive. The galaxy would remember this day. The Zaltrax would remember it too. And the humans knew that no matter what came next, they had already shown the universe what it meant to be human. The galaxy had watched in silence as the Zaltrax fleet gathered once again. Commander Varlock, aboard the massive Dreadspire, had ordered all his ships to prepare for the ultimate attack on humanity. He was furious. The humans had survived every test, every strike, and every tactic he had used. No other species had ever resisted so fiercely. Yet here they were, calm and ready, as if they knew they could survive anything. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the Aurora, watching the approaching fleet. The ship had been repaired and upgraded after the previous battles, and the crew was ready. They were tired but focused. Every man and woman aboard knew that this would be the biggest test yet. Alex Moore leaned over the console. They've brought everything this time, all ships, all weapons, full force, but we've learned their patterns. We know how they fight and we can outthink them. Daniel nodded. Yes, humans survive because we think, because we adapt, and because we never give up. That is our advantage. This battle will be hard, but we are ready. Sophie Daniels worked at the controls, adjusting the shields and weapon systems. The adaptive shields are at maximum. The weapons are fully calibrated. We can survive their attacks and strike back instantly. Liam Porter studied the tactical maps. We divide our forces into 4 groups, 2 attack units, 1 defensive, and 1 hidden unit for surprise strikes. They will not know which is which. Their size is their weakness, and we will exploit it. Claire Bennett stood quietly, watching the preparations. It is frightening, but I trust you all. Humans fight with courage no other species can match. The Zaltrax fleet moved closer. Massive ships blocked out the stars, their weapons charging. Commander Varlock's voice boomed over the Dreadspire. This ends now. Destroy the humans. Show them the power of the Zaltrax. They cannot survive this. The humans waited calmly. Captain Daniel addressed his crew. Remember, we survive because we adapt. We strike where they are weak. We work together. Humans never give up, and we always find a way. That is our strength. As the Zaltrax fired, the Aurora and its fighter units moved with speed and precision. Energy beams streaked across space, but the adaptive shields absorbed most of the damage. Smaller human ships darted between the massive enemy vessels, striking weak points in the hulls. Alex Moore led a squadron on a direct attack. Hit their engines, then retreat. Make them chase shadows. Keep moving, keep thinking, keep surviving. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. The Zaltrax ships shuddered as human pulse cannons tore through weak points. Their massive numbers were no match for the human speed, intelligence, and unpredictability. Sophie Daniels monitored the systems. Shields holding at full strength, weapons ready. We can continue striking again and again. Liam Porter coordinated the units. Flank the largest ships, attack supply lines, force their attention in different directions. Confuse them, they cannot respond to all angles at once. The humans' tactics were working perfectly. For every Zaltrax attack, there was a counterstrike. Every move the enemy made was anticipated, adapted to, and exploited. The massive fleet began to falter under the pressure of the small but clever human units. Commander Varlock could not believe it. Impossible. No species has survived us like this. Humans, they are not just resilient, they are dangerous. The battle raged for hours. The human forces moved like shadows among the massive ships, striking with precision and retreating before the Zaltrax could respond. Every explosion, every strike, every maneuver showed the humans courage and intelligence. On the Aurora, Daniel watched the battlefield. Humans survive because we think, because we adapt, because we never stop. We are small, but we are clever, brave, and relentless. That is our strength. Alex Moore grinned as his squadron struck another Zaltrax ship. They thought they could crush us, but we fight smart together and we survive. Humans always find a way. Sophie Daniels adjusted the systems. We can continue. The shields are strong, the weapons are ready. They won't know what to expect next. Liam Porter pointed at the tactical map. Their formation is breaking. Push forward. We can force them to retreat or surrender. Daniel nodded. We strike with courage and precision. Humans survive because we do not just follow rules. We create new rules. We adapt. We fight to live. The hidden human unit led by a group of the fastest fighters struck the Dreadspire directly. Energy beams lit up the enemy ship, causing explosions that echoed across space. Commander Varlock shouted orders, but his massive vessel could not maneuver quickly enough to avoid the attacks. Alex Moore's squadron joined the strike, attacking from multiple angles. The Dreadspire shuddered and faltered. The humans moved with speed, striking where the Zaltrax were weak and retreating before the enemy could respond. Sophie Daniels monitored the Aurora. The main enemy ship is damaged. Their firepower is reduced. We can continue the attack. Liam Porter coordinated all units. Focus fire on the largest ships. Prevent them from regrouping. Keep hitting weak points. The Zaltrax cannot respond to this strategy. Daniel spoke to the crew. Remember, we are human. We survive because we think, because we adapt, because we never stop. Every move we make shows the enemy that humans cannot be easily broken. The Zaltrax fleet began to retreat. Commander Varlock's voice was filled with disbelief. How can this be? Humans are too clever, too fast, too determined. We cannot defeat them as we have defeated all others. On the Aurora, the crew watched the enemy ships fall back. The humans had won the battle, not by overwhelming force, but by intelligence, courage, and determination. They had survived against the most feared species in the galaxy and had proven their strength. Captain Daniel Hayes addressed his crew. We have shown the Zaltrax that humans are not weak. We survive because we adapt. We fight smart. We work together. That is why we are alive. That is why they fear us, Alex Moore grinned. They thought they could destroy us, but we fought smarter, faster, and braver. Humans always find a way. Sophie Daniels smiled. The shields held, the weapons worked, the tactics succeeded. We can survive anything they throw at us next. Liam Porter nodded. We've shown them humans are different. They will remember it, and so will the galaxy. Claire Bennett watched quietly. The humans have proven their courage, intelligence, and determination. The Zaltrax will not underestimate us again. The battle ended with the humans victorious. The Zaltrax had retreated, not out of fear alone, but out of respect for a species they could not easily destroy. Captain Daniel Hayes and his crew had survived the impossible and had shown the galaxy what it meant to be human. As the Aurora returned to the outer colonies, the crew celebrated quietly but remained focused. They knew more challenges would come, but they were ready. Humans survived because they adapted, thought, and never gave up. The outer colonies had survived, the Zaltrax had been repelled, and humanity had proven that even the most feared species in the galaxy could meet a species they could not break. Captain Daniel Hayes looked at his crew with pride. We are human, we survive, we fight smart, we adapt, and we will continue to survive. That is who we are, Alex Moore smiled. Let them come, we are ready. Humans always find a way. Sophie Daniels checked the systems again. All systems are ready for the next challenge. We can face anything. Liam Porter nodded. We've shown the galaxy humans cannot be easily defeated. That is our message to every species, near and far. The stars were calm, but the humans knew the Zaltrax would return someday. When they did, humans would be ready. They would survive, they would fight smart, and they would show courage that no other species could match. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the Zaltrax commanders reconsidered everything they thought they knew. Humans were small, yes, but clever, brave, and relentless. They were dangerous. They were unpredictable, and the galaxy would never forget that the humans had survived. The Aurora orbited the outer colonies, quiet and steady. The crew looked out at the stars, knowing they had faced the galaxy's most feared species and had survived. They had shown courage, intelligence, and determination. Humanity had survived, and the galaxy had learned one truth. Humans could not be broken, could not be easily defeated, and would always find a way. Captain Daniel Hayes spoke quietly to himself, looking at the stars. We are human. We survive. We fight smart. We adapt. And nothing, not even the most feared species in the galaxy, can stop us. The humans had faced the impossible, and they had triumphed. Their courage, intelligence, and determination had proven that even the smallest species could stand against the strongest forces in the universe. The galaxy would remember this day. The Zaltrax would remember it. And humanity knew one thing for certain: no matter what came next, they would survive.